In Africa, things never turn out quite as you expect. Tsavo was going to be the place where no vultures fly when I first arrived here, 28 years ago. I've been watching vultures ever since. For the main part, it's a huge, great sea of thorny bushland. Hardly a drop of water. Even the rivers are sand most of the time. But it's my home now. I couldn't live anywhere else. My job was to make it into the greatest sanctuary for wildlife in the world. Bloody good, bloody difficult. You see, the core of the problem was there long before I arrived. Years ago, hundreds of years before that bloke in HQ drew a line on a map and said, "This is a reserve, animals only, no hunting." A small, unlisted tribe of great hunters, the Walangulu, had moved in. And as far as they were concerned, it was their territory and their elephants. Like many hunters, the Walangulu lived by eating what they killed. But they were specialists. They killed only the elephant. If now, today, the Walangulu hunted elephant only for food, it would make little impression on their numbers. But it's bloody ivory they're after these days. They've been caught up in international big business. The ivory racket. Run as you might expect by somebody else. Once the elephant's been hit, my rangers on the ground can only put a merciful end to its agony. The arrowhead has gone deep. It must be dug out. It provides a vital clue. So there can be no doubt who owns the corpse. Each poisoned arrow bears the killer's special mark. It's a sort of signature. The Walangulu are unusual, very secretive people. They have no use for villages. They live in family groups, hidden away in the thickest bush. They are predators living among predators. They know what each sound means. They know what to fear and when to fear it. The method they use for killing places them among the most deadly and efficient hunters in Africa. They hunt with bows, extraordinarily powerful, long bows. The arrows are tipped with poison. Black, sticky mass of poison is sweated on by fire. It's made by boiling branches of the acacanthera tree with, as legend has it, the innards of a puff adder and the liver of a crocodile. To keep it fresh, it's wrapped in the skin of an animal, usually the skin of a monkey or small antelope. Each arrow carries enough poison to kill at least a dozen men. The main shaft is designed to fall off when the wounded animal charges through the bush. Dying is painful, and it can be very slow. It may take up to 6 months. Once the poison is in the bloodstream, death is inevitable. There is no known remedy. To some people, it must seem a lonely life. I was a professional hunter once. I felt much more alone then. I know this area and the animals well. Before I got the plane, we did all the anti-poaching patrols on foot. There weren't any roads. When we eventually got a truck, we hacked roads out of the bush. These days, you're a road builder, an accountant, administrator, pilot, map maker, engineer, policeman. You're a one-man band. But what really matters are the animals. Without them, the job is meaningless. The real issue is poaching. What on earth is anyone supposed to do with an area the size of Israel and 50 rangers to protect all the animals? And for what, I often think. So the rest of the world can live with a good conscience, and the tourists, and me, will have something left to look at. The rangers patrol in sections, often miles apart. Their only link is by radio and Tango Papa, my plane, a mobile HQ. Almost from birth, the rangers know how to track and survive in the dry, burning bushland. I've known them go for nearly 3 days without water. But as for the rest, how to write, shoot, drive, or communicate, it's all got to be learnt. And schooling is a long, painful business. Well, for me, anyway. But I've got to hand it to them. When I think back, most of them hadn't even sat in a vehicle before they joined the force. Few of the rangers are ex-poachers. They'll stay, but only as long as it's worth their while. Hunting is in their blood. They're quite used to wild animals. Bumping into a large herd of elephants can happen any day. If the elephants appear aggressive, it's usually just a show or warning. The more experienced ranger knows that if you stand your ground, they'll probably pass by. Something's definitely disturbed this lot.
Nakuja karibu. Nakanyaga chini.
I've told them not to fire. But I'd rather give the game away. Tell the poachers where you are. There must be 600 or 700. All peaceful enough. A bit bunched together. I bet they've been shot at. Looking for poachers is like looking for a needle in a haystack. Poachers think as long as they stand still and don't look at the plane, they can't be seen. And they're right. Unfortunately, it works only too well. There's something. Nowadays, the poachers let fly at anything with tusks. It's sickening. Even a young mother with a calf. That little elephant will just stand beside its dying mother until it dies too of heat and thirst. Already it's drawing liquid from its stomach and splashing it over its burning skin in a last desperate attempt to stop dehydration. The rangers have to act quickly. And another little present for Daphne. I think we're in time.
She's taking liquid, so that's all right. It's when they're too dried out or too young, I can't do much. As long as the other orphans are around, she'll feel confident and accept me. It makes it so much easier. Eleanor is invaluable at times like this. I'm sure she'll want to adopt this one too. She always does, and she knows exactly what to do to comfort and reassure. David calls her Sobo, the name of the rock near where he found her. She looks about a year old. Our orphans are quite a handful at times, just like the children were. They're into everything, especially the food store. Except it's more difficult to say no to an elephant. It's a very good relationship we have with them. I think unusual. After all, they're by no means tame. They're still wild animals. But because we've been able to help them, they now trust us. I think Raru is going to be a huge tusker. He's only 8, and he's got a lot of ivory showing already. The first day I saw him, when Eleanor suddenly wandered in with him, his tusks were no bigger than our new arrival, Sobo. We've had Eleanor longest. She's 16 now, and quite mature. She's She should really have left home, joined the wild herds, and be starting a family of her own. Only Eleanor knows how to turn the tap on, but she never bothers to turn it off. David can never start soon enough these days. He drives himself mercilessly, and I know what he's thinking. He must catch Gallo Gallo, the last of the great Walangulu poachers. I remember when first we came to Tsavo. The poaching wasn't so bad then. We were so happy. We lived in tents, right among the animals. Now there's a proper headquarters, workshops. We have a house. It's still wonderful. We still have lots of animals around us. Almost all the animals wandering about our garden are orphans. They're old enough now to come and go as they wish, between the wild herds and us. I love the early mornings when they return safely. I hear the lions at night, and I know what they could mean to my orphans. I've known Bunty all her life. She was brought to me 8 years ago. She returns almost every day from the wild herd, which lives feeding in the bush below the house. To the wild ram, her mate, it must be confusing. I suspect he's a little jealous at times, but I treasure the wonderful relationship we have. Bunty stayed with me during the last days of her pregnancy, and Bouncer was born just below the house. Impala birth is always quick. It's a moment of danger. Quite suddenly, he was there. It's rather sad. To be safe from man, it's best that animals fear him. I will never touch him again after today. He won't have the divided loyalties of his hand-raised mother. We have to put the younger orphans in stables at night. Without their mothers or the herd around, they wouldn't last long. Jimmy the kudu can't wait to join the others, but it will be a year before he can stay with them permanently. In an impala herd, there is only one male, so you'd think the ram must have a wonderful time. But it's not just a life of pleasure, and it doesn't last long. Besides satisfying his harem, he has to fight off all other males. Not even his son Bouncer is tolerated. The black rhino and the African buffalo are two of the most dangerous animals in the world, but even they respond to a human foster mother. Pushmi and Nasita require a gallon of milk every 4 hours, from early morning until 10 at night. So my day is planned. Funda the zebra is a dreadful tease. When he was a newborn foal, he followed a zebra-striped safari bus, mistaking it for his mother. Eventually, the passengers became desperate and picked him up. Bringing up different kinds of animals together creates unusual friendships. Friendships which could never exist in the wild. And because of it, they express themselves in such totally unexpected ways. That's Stroppy. It's strange to find a rhino who likes zebras. Or an elephant who puts flowers on his head.
The mutilation is appalling. The poachers hack away the skull to get the tusks. I find it ironic. The elephant's only real enemy is man, yet without his friendship and help, he's halfway to extinction. With no fresh tracks to follow, I have to work out how far ahead the poachers could be. But it's tricky. There are usually many gangs operating. If each blazes off several arrows into a herd, you've got corpses all over the place. Some elephants die quickly. Others travel many miles before they finally collapse. A corpse with tusks slows us down. The rangers must pick up the ivory that's been missed, or it's damn certain the poachers will find it eventually. Tusks pull out easily when the elephant has been dead a few days. Ivory has become so valuable, even non-hunters from other tribes come in for the leftovers. The tusks of a big bull weigh 100 pounds each or more. They'd cost a man $40,000 a pair. Quite a lot, but not much when you think what it cost the elephant. Values are strange. I've often tried to work it out.
The wild animals stop and stare in sheer disbelief at the strange sight of that motley gang of orphans and humans stretching out across the African bush on their daily walk. But the orphans have to go out and learn about the wild and to gradually throw off their dependence on us. Holly is there to keep an eye on the younger ones, if Eleanor decides to stay away for the night, which she frequently does. As soon as the mess tin is put away, Eleanor knows it's the moment to move on. Ali doesn't carry a gun. By watching the orphans, he usually senses any hidden danger long before he gets to it. As Eleanor goes through the bush, she behaves just like any wild elephant, forgetting her human ties, scenting and picking up signals with her highly sensitive trunk. I don't think anyone has worked out why elephants have such a strange fascination for their dead, touching them gently, especially their ivory. They must move on. Ali knows that the lions might return and attack the smaller orphans. Bushmi is too young to go out with the larger orphans. He's still on 4-hourly feeds. So am I. And don't I know it? But I'm secretly delighted. Giving him a bit of exercise gets David off the hook, away from all the pressures, and he can relax. Except that's hardly the word. Bushmi has to live in the cuckoo run. It's the only enclosed space we have. My hens have met a lot of strange animals in their time. By now, they're quite used to sharing. In fact, they seem to enjoy it, pecking off ticks. I'm sure their pecking must tickle. It reduces Bushmi to a state of blissful stupor. It's an unforgettable moment, meeting these animals of two worlds in the evening as they return, quite voluntarily. I can feel, when Eleanor towers over me, her immense power. She's incredibly gentle. She's never used violence or shown aggression. It's a very special moment for us. My poor grapefruit tree. Eleanor is dreadful, and she always takes two. David built lion-proof pens for the younger ones. Eleanor only wanders in to be with them, have a free meal, pinch a bit of raros if she can. Of course, Eleanor will lead them all off one day. I'll worry, knowing they're out there with Gallo Gallo and all the other poachers.
Poachers kill rhinos just for the horn. It's supposed to be an aphrodisiac. I wish some of us were just bright enough to relate that momentary pleasure to the weeks of anguish they cause. Well, if the poachers are shooting rhino, they're doing it from trees around the waterholes, and that must mean they're operating in the eastern sector. It rained there 2 weeks ago.
Ini baru kali. Ini baru kali.
Watu nanguka hapa? Kujapata mimi. Nakuta tena bana iko. Nakuta bandi nafikiri. Bandi hii. Wapi? Bandi hii. Hiyo bana watu ile kitu
No use. That far ahead, they'll be across the boundary before the rangers can catch them.
Uko. Tuko mbali sana.
Tuko mbali sana.
Sijui kama mimi nafikiri na risasi nifikiri.
Na kuchapata meli.
Mimi naona tunaanguka hapa.
Nalinga mto.
Ndio hiyo nalinga hiyo bori.
Lakini bahati yao.
Mimi mtu alikuwa anaanguka hapa na anaondoka na mimi nafikiri alikuwa ameumia nakuja hapa na angalia hakuna.
Lakini wewe kuchapata meli au
nafikiri alikuwa mimi napiga tu alikuwa mimi naona anaanguka.
Ndio. Hata yeye karibu na Nyorosa mimi na mshali kweli kweli.
It's the smallest elephant I've ever seen. There's something strange about how they found her. She was just standing there, the rangers said. The mother's corpse couldn't be found anywhere. In fact, there were no elephants in the area. She's very young, and by the way she stumbles, very weak. As she comes to me, I realize she's only a day or two old. I know she wants love and reassurance badly. It is unbearably tragic. I know people have tried, but no one has ever kept a baby elephant as young as this alive. I know, too, it would save so much heartbreak, eventually, if I didn't even try. I called her Aisha. It means princess. The problem is feeding. A substitute for the mother's milk containing vital antibodies has yet to be found. So I started by diluting the milk mixture, and I added the antibiotics which had proved successful in the past. It's worked for elephants of 6 months and as small as 3 feet at the shoulder. Aisha is only 2'9". As I patched up her sores, I knew in my heart this little helpless creature already meant something very special to me.
As the price of ivory goes up, the poaching gets worse. It's like flying over yesterday's battlefield. When the poison is fresh, only a little need be absorbed before it proves fatal. I can't always see where I direct them, and I certainly get to hear about it later.
Aisha is making excellent progress. That she needs to be with me every single moment, all day long. It's very touching, but I've got work to do. Anyway, she can't come in the house. It would be a shambles in minutes. She does anything to attract attention. She's very clever. She follows me. She hears where I am and hovers outside, hoping I'll relent. Poor little thing. I feel awful, but I must be strict. By leaving her alone, I hope she'll start to make friends with the other orphans. Although up to now, I must say, they haven't liked her attitude or her tantrums at all.
Descending vultures are like smoke signals in the sky. They can be seen for miles. They signify a recent kill, and any kill can mean poachers.
Hebu jaribu kuangalia kabisa. Uone inatokea pande gani, alafu jaribu. Bado kidogo tu, lakini mkuu tunaona wanaelekea upande wa mkondo.
I was some 70 miles away, spotting for 2 section. This sounded urgent. When I leave here, something's bound to happen. It always does.
Naweza kujaribu kuja kuona sisi, alafu hapa na mbogani kidogo. Wewe naweza kujaribu kutafuta, na sisi napata mguu, na wewe najaribu kutafuta.
Number 3 were doing very well. Already covered 8 miles without losing the tracks. By circling ahead of the rangers, I hope to stop the poachers, make them take cover, keep their heads down. The pattern of the footprints showed the poachers had been forced to pause here.
Naona viatu yake hii.
I left the interrogation to my rangers. They say they are not poachers, but nomads from the north, simply collecting ivory left lying about. They say they were frightened of being caught. They've hidden their loot to travel faster. Well, they're not hunters, no bows or arrows, so their story maybe is true. Maybe they haven't killed. By collecting, they're poachers just the same. Several miles back, tusks and horns of a rhino.
Aisha likes it best when I'm in the garden. She has me all to herself. She wants the attention she'd get in an elephant herd. I'm a poor substitute, and I can't just garden all day long. I was getting quite desperate to try and think of something to keep her happy, when help came in a way I could never have imagined. 4 ostrich chicks. Tourists brought them in, and most unexpectedly, Aisha latched onto them. From the moment the ostriches arrived, Aisha's attitude changed. She became so much happier. She not only gulped down her bottle, but would have taken a second if I hadn't thought it would do more harm than good. For the first time, I began to think she might have a chance. Now that the ostriches were around, as long as she didn't see me go, she didn't seem to mind. Sucking her trunk like a thumb, she seemed content. I couldn't wait to tell David. She started to sleep properly for the first time. With Aisha in the cuckoo run, Pushmi had to be moved out and introduced to Eleanor and the other orphans. It was about time anyway. I mean, you can't keep a rhino in a chicken run all its life. He too has to learn about the world beyond our home, where he'll start to live in 4 or 5 years' time. There are wild rhinos at the waterhole. The first Pushmi has ever seen. And they didn't stay long. All elephants like mud. It's cooling. It's good for the skin. Keeps insects away. Aisha is getting on so well, although there are still odd days when she scours and can't digest the milk.
Number 3 section had seen a big bull elephant wounded in a small herd a few miles along the river bank. Eventually I found the herd, but there was no sign of him. They all seemed fine. He dropped behind, further downriver. He must have carried the arrow for months and months in unimaginable agony. Every time I shoot an elephant, I feel I've failed. God, I feel old. Daphne, Aisha, the orphans are my sanity. Strange to think, first day I arrived here, I was looking for a place to make an HQ. An elephant came out of the bush and charged me. I shot it. It's a hell of a way to start a sanctuary for animals. Well, there's always tomorrow. I'll get a section up on the Yatta. We haven't checked that area for a week. Every day Aisha looks better. I wouldn't have believed it possible. Don't think Daphne could bear to lose her now. Some days it's like the bloody Ark here. 4 warthogs arrived, tails erect, all flying the flag. Below the Yatta, I picked out a man running like the devil. I instructed number 4 section to intercept. He must have seen me, but made no attempt to hide.
Tuseme hapa pale naangushwa. Alichoma kutoka hapo. Akichomoa hapo mpaka akaangushwa huko.
He claimed his friend had been killed by an elephant. Well, it wouldn't be the first time an elephant had come off best, but then again, it wouldn't be the first time someone had been killed by a rival poacher. Of course, they weren't poaching. The story was that they were just wandering about as usual, looking for lost goats. Bloody good. It might have worked, except for a telltale arrow shaft. Well, whatever. He and his friends were very frightened by what had happened. The death had shaken them badly. They're very superstitious. But in their fear, they'd let slip some useful information. Gangs of Walangulu and other tribes had all moved up into an area north of the Yatta, a bloody difficult bit of Africa, where the elephants feel safe. But where there is big ivory. If this were true, I felt sure the ace poacher, Galo Galo, would be around. I told all sections to return to base.
Aisha is ill today. It started with a bad stomach infection over a week ago. I must increase the antibiotics to try and arrest the scarring. It always starts like this. And they just get weaker and weaker. I have to force down the antibiotics. Injections distress her terribly. Today, she's no better. In fact, worse. She won't accept milk with medicine in it, or without, for that matter. As a last resort, I'd fed her some of Eleanor's saliva to give her the natural antibodies she needs. She needs to drink water, or something, or she'll die. But she won't. So hard. I know I failed. She died that night, Christmas Eve. I was glad of the darkness. You have to accept tragedies in Sabo, I keep telling myself. And there are the other orphans, all her friends. I like the ostriches. The warthogs are quite a handful. They take up a lot of my time. But I shall never forget Aisha.
I stand giving orders, but the sounds only echo the past. Keen young officer in the King's African Rifles, Burma, World War II. Suddenly the Rangers are soldiers. I hear myself talking about a huge pincer movement, surround the enemy, ambush, surprise, attack. Through all the conflict of sound, I hear what I'm stupidly saying. How easily we lapse into the futile adventure of war. But I want Gallo Gallo. I want to avenge all the sick, dead and dying animals I've seen, as if they were civilian atrocities of the area I've been defending. This is a policing operation, I emphasize. It is not our object to kill or wound, but I know as far as I'm concerned, it's war. A single track runs right round the huge hostile area north of the Yatta. There are no roads through the center. The poachers come in from the south to hunt. By sending 4 sections round the boundary track, we can infiltrate from the north, threading our way down from a direction they'd least expect. The remaining section, number 3, will stay south on the river to ambush. It doesn't matter where you turn off. By truck, you're not going to get very far. There's nothing for it. The Rangers fan out, start to comb, moving south, back towards the river. It looks grotesque, just sitting there like some strange plastic creature from Disneyland. Number 3 section waiting on the river had spotted him. The position of the arrow showed he'd been hit by an ace hunter. Wound was quite fresh, only 2 or 3 days old. Now, had he come from north of the Yatta, or was there somebody poaching on the river? I ordered number 3 section to investigate while I went up to establish communication with the rest. She's dying. But there was nothing the rangers could do with the other elephants around. Now it's too late for a bullet. There was no doubt. A gang was somewhere not far ahead. But this arrow had different markings from the last. The grisly paper chase of corpses seems to have no end. But covering it with branches makes it look like a trap, scaring off vultures. Or perhaps they heard the plane. There are fresh tracks. That's them, all right. Where the hell are the rangers? That's the first one. But I needn't feel smug. Already other sections are bringing them in. Every gang has ivory. And they're loaded with arrows. Every day, for 4 days, more and more poachers. This crazy fever for ivory is spread everywhere. Tribesmen from all over, Giriyama from the east, Somalia from the north, like a bloody gold rush. Everyone's got in on it. And the most prolific hunters of the lot, the Wakamba, have come in from everywhere with only one intention, to shoot every elephant in sight. The Walangulu know nothing, of course, of Galo Galo. They couldn't even say whether he's still alive or not. They're careful not to say he's dead. One shaft without a head. Somewhere there's a huge bull too sick to go on. Somewhere someone is about to pot a billiard ball. Number 3 section was still working the river area. He was Walangulu, all right. Not very cooperative at first. He hadn't shot the elephant. No, it wasn't Galo Galo's elephant. Who was Galo Galo? Perhaps it was shot by a Kamba or Giriyama. When it was pointed out it was a Walangulu arrow, he agreed. And quite suddenly he said he'd show them his hideout. That's right, stand up. You warn the others. It's an old trick. You didn't get away with it. And they got the general direction, the river. Strips of elephant meat drying. A hideout, but no sign of the rest of the gang. Now, if they hadn't been tipped off somehow, they'd be back. And with luck, walk into an ambush. It's a long and exhausting business, just waiting. It's only too easy to disturb the birds and animals. Poachers know how to interpret each sound or movement. So do the rangers. Four of them. It was surprising they caught them all. Even more astonishing, the old man claimed he was the great Galo Galo. The rangers weren't impressed. There was no resistance. It all happened too easily. I didn't believe it. But if they had caught Galo Galo, would he still be there? Would they be able to hold him? I should have been elated at the possibility, but I wasn't. I don't know why. Of the 20,000 elephants killed by poachers' arrows in Savo since I arrived, I reckon Galo Galo, in his lifetime, could claim to have caused the death of at least 1,500. He was old. Much older than I'd expected. The man I'd been hunting for the past 20 years, physically and in my mind, was not this tired old man.
He too.
He and his two sons seemed resigned. They treated my outraged feelings with calmness and silence. When Galo Galo did speak, there was a gentleness I didn't expect from this ruthless killer. I couldn't reconcile it with all the agony and the suffering I'd seen, for which I knew he was responsible. His voice cut through my thoughts. The elephants are finished. I knew what he was saying was true. His people had always lived off the elephant. First, the ivory had meant little to them. Greed, not the Walangulu, had killed the elephant, he said. It was other people. Rich people in Nairobi, people all over the world who wanted the ivory. Always more and more ivory. It was those people who made it cost like gold. It is those people who will see the end of the elephant.
It had to come one day. A brown paper envelope had finally arrived. David's transfer. We must leave Tsavo. David said once, "You can cut an old tree down. You can't transplant it."
I don't know how to say goodbye to animals.
And all this, over $2 million worth of elephant, off to Nairobi, or somewhere. Well, if that's what the world wants, let him get on with it.